Good morning, and afternoon, everyone. This is Nia. I realized I didn't send any instructions to our interviewee today, so hopefully they'll be popping on very soon. This is in part of Thrive Artist Group. This is healing conversations through the lens of mental health. So there's Sejames. So I.
Hey,
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you. It's
You as
it's
well.
been since the winter time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized that I didn't send you the instructions on how to get on. So we had a few people watching earlier, but I was like, be right back. So,
I was waiting for you to show up on live, but you just showed up. So
oh, okay.
yeah, I was waiting, and then I was gonna join and then request you. So
Oh,
we here.
nice. We are
Yeah.
here.
I,
Um,
I knew what you meant though. I was like, hopefully it ain't a another Zoom like call or something like
oh
that.
yeah,
But
no.
Instagram live. Okay.
No Zoom, no Zoom. Oh,
Okay.
I did say Zoom, huh?
Well, I knew what you meant though. I
Moving
knew it was
too
Instagram
fast, moving too
live.
fast. Well, welcome. It is so good to have you here. As I was saying before you popped on, this is in part of Thrive Artist Group, and this is Saturday mornings and afternoons, healing conversations through the lens of mental health. And I have Mr. Sejames with me today, writer, producer, director, actor,
Yeah.
doing all the things. So I'm really
Yes.
excited to hear your perspective and to really just learn a little bit more about, how mental health may inform the work that you do and just how you maintain your mental health. So
Yeah.
so let's jump right in. So I said a
Okay.
little bit about you, but would you like to share a little bit about yourself? Tell us what's going on with you, how you got in the groove, all that fun stuff.
Okay, I'm born and raised here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Single parent home. Of course, black male. I'm a graduate of Little Rock Central High School. Got my bachelor's degree from Arkansas Baptist College, HBCU. Um, got my master's degree from Strayer University of Business Administration. Currently working in the mental health field. Um, Mental health paraprofessional or behavior specialist with youth home with children. So
Oh,
um,
wow.
yeah, so I've
Oh,
been doing
you're
it.
in the right place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a qualified behavioral health specialist, so I deal with kids that come from all different type of backgrounds. Um, I'm also a writer, director, producer, bartender, um, personal trainer, um, actor, model. So it's a lot of people that may have seen me on some TV commercials. I think as of right now, it's like four that's in rotation that's on TV right now.
Oh, wow.
Um, so that's I've been doing the acting and modeling for probably about 10 years now. Decided to not wait on Hollywood to select me to be in a project. I decided to take it in my own hands and shoot my own project. So I wrote, directed, produced, starred, and financed the feature film "Nice Guys Finish Last." Um, and that actually came from a place of expression, things that was going on in the world. So I wrote it during COVID when the shutdown was happening. I also wanted to kind of show the perspective of a black male, not necessarily in a bad light. So typically in most movies they show us either we're the thugs, or we're the dogs, in this one it's a little bit of both, but he actually isn't a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
um so I just kind of wanted to write that, like I say, in that perspective. And I also wanted it to be different, so it was going to kind of give a vibe of a best man slash two can play that game.
Oh.
um and Boomerang, kind of like those movies. And it was kind of to show people that black people are in positions of power. We make money, we are successful, and we're not a monolith either. We're different. So I kind of took the approach that Malcolm D. Lee spoke about in his documentary when he said that people passed on the best men because they couldn't understand how educated black people could curse and say the N word.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I want to kind of bring that back, and then, like I say, show educated people in positions of power, making money, is successful, but they can curse and say N word, all that. So that's what I took with that, and I wanted to do a romantic comedy. I felt like it was a time and a place now for us to do that because of all these people dying, jobs being lost, we stuck in a house. So I just wanted to kind of do something like that. That was my approach to that, and I was able to pull it off with a great team behind me. And right now, it is being looked at by several networks, including BET, WeTV, TV One, All Black, Urban Flicks, Brown Sugar, and I think it's one more. So one of them requested a high definition trailer a few weeks ago, so I'm waiting on them to pick it up, speaking into
Awesome.
existence. But yeah, we're doing big things, and I'm working on another film here soon.
Awesome. So I have a question actually.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that we're home. You're my homeboy. So shout
Yes.
out to Arkansas. What?
What's happening?
I still proudly represent where I'm from. So you have two Arkansans here today. So it's a
Yes.
treat. It's a treat for you.
And
Uh,
actually, we almost like family too, though.
we're
So
almost family. Our
yeah,
cousins, we got the same cousins. So
right,
yes, so this is symbiotic. It's supposed to happen. It's kismet. It's all those things. But the
right.
question that I wanted to ask out of what you just said in creating your Nice Guys Finish Last and having in mind that people are losing their jobs, people are sitting at home, people are going, through their own scenarios. Did you have mental health in mind when you were writing this? Like trying to make people feel better or, whatever it may be.
Yeah. So that was the approach, was to kind of take the pain that everybody's enduring and the what am I kind the cabin fever that everybody was dealing with, not being able to go anywhere, and turning it and putting a smile on people's faces. So I wanted to tie in like the some of the things that were seen a lot on like social media, Facebook and Instagram. So like we may have seen people talking about these certain subjects that was funny, and it'll seem familiar to us. So um, I was the whole point was to kind of be edgy with this movie. So like if we saw somebody on social media talking about would they date their best friend's ex, so I would take that and incorporate that in the movie, or
Oh, wow.
so or the subject of somebody may say like, and these are all funny stuff, like people was posting memes and stuff like that. So I was taking like stuff like that and applying it into the movie, and trying my best to make people forget that we were in the pandemic. We didn't mention the pandemic or anything like that. So I just wanted to try to make people laugh and make them have a good time and see us black people in positions of power and actually be able to resonate with some of the people. So a lot of us have dealt with heartbreak. Some of us have been in love and stuff like that. Everybody can relate to that. So that's what I was trying to kind of pull out in there, but mostly just put a smile on people's face and make them forget about the pandemic.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
why do you think, and I guess kind of getting into the actual daily, work that you do, why do you think mental health is important?
Oh, it's very important. So growing up in the black community, at least in the '90s when we were kids, it wasn't really spoken about. the term that was thrown around was the word crazy. So, and honestly, it's a broad meaning for that. With me, crazy means a lot. Like you can be, oh, he crazy, like he funny. Oh, he crazy, like they may have some mental issues, but like we don't mean it like in a bad way, but we just kind of warning people like, be sensitive with this person. They've been through some stuff. They just look crazy. That's so it's not that it's not always it's not a term in Denver, but I don't think we also mean it in a bad way a lot of times too. So
Hmm. Do you
um
think, do you think
go ahead.
that we don't know different ways to describe it? So we just,
That's exactly what I was getting to. We didn't know what mental health is. We didn't know the difference between bipolar one, bipolar two, schizophrenia. All of it was considered crazy.
right.
And it's levels to it though. It's levels to it. So did we just feel like, oh, they just crazy? We didn't know. We weren't educated on it. So now that I work in the field and work with some of these kids, I know like, okay, it's a difference, between bipolar and bipolar one, and then detachment syndrome, all this stuff. So abandonment issues and all these things. So I try to take that in consideration when I talk to people and treat people a certain way. Um, I always tell people, especially the kids, because a lot of them can be rude to staff, and I say, look, y'all not the only one with problems now. I was like, you got to be careful on how you treat people. I was
Hmm.
like, this person may be going through something at home, and they come to work with you every day, and you giving them hell. I was
Right.
like, you don't know what they're going through. You're not the only one that got problems and going through problems. Like I understand. I'm not saying your problems aren't important, but treat people right. What would you do if the staff was to snap? Like these are people that's supposed to be protecting you, but if the person that's supposed to be protecting you is attacking you because you pushed the button, you triggered them, who's gonna call the other staff? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you got to think about the stuff you do and say and how you treat people. So,
Yeah.
um, I definitely think we just have to continue to educate and put the word out about it. And everybody has issues. So I remember my mom. Um, I so she was talking about I'm divorced. So that's kind of what helped me, writing and stuff like that, whatever. But I was talking to her about my ex-wife, and I was like, well, she got this going on. She was like, so everybody got problems. But when I thought about it, she was like, ain't nobody perfect. She was like, so what? Everybody can use that as an excuse, literally. So stop letting people
Hmm.
letting people use that like, oh well, when I was growing up I didn't have my dad, so and so. Like you weren't the only one that got problems. Like so that's like everybody can use that excuse a lot of times. So that's what she pointed out. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you know what, you're right. We all are sometimes a paycheck away from going crazy. So one push away, you know, just anything. Everybody got something that could trigger them to where they could lose it all, and
Right.
we all have issues and problems. So
Yeah.
everybody got it. Mm-hmm.
We were actually talking about that at work yesterday because I work as a peer support specialist. So I work in an organization run completely by peers. And my department was coming up with a comfort agreement yesterday. And one of the things that we wrote in our comfort agreement was that we are all peers. Remember that we're all peers. So every time we step into this space of, work, there's so much that we're trying to leave behind to be able to do our work. But sometimes it is hard, and I think
Yeah.
oftentimes the people that always share their story, oh, I didn't have this, or oh, this was my struggle, or I think that they haven't gotten to a place to work through it. So it's a constant
Mm,
in their mind, so they're
yeah.
always thinking about what they're lacking, what they don't have, what they didn't get. And so
Facts.
instead of saying, okay, how can I get past this? How can I work through this? It's more
Hmm.
so, we just get into this place. And I think, oftentimes we don't know how to help ourselves. So we just get
True.
stuck in our sad
It's a
story,
cycle. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting that you
I
were
agree.
talking about that. Yeah.
I agree. I'm one of those people. I don't like to be around people that are very negative. That
Mm-hmm.
always we're steady having that same conversation over and over. Well, I went through this, and I'm like, okay, you know what the problem is now, like, and that's where I gotta check myself, right? So
Mm.
going through divorce and like how I'm a former athlete too, so we're conditioned to be like, get up and do it again, get up and try it again, no matter how hard it
Mm-hmm.
is, get up and try it again. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear it. Shut up, do as I say. Get up and try it again. Do this, like, keep going. Don't stop. All right, keep practicing, do better. And you weren't allowed to actually use excuses or have an excuse like, oh, coach, nah, he don't want to hear that. Like, get out there and you do your punishment and get over it. It's time to start and do this. So it's hard because I've been conditioned like that all my life to not push that onto the people I love. So I'm harder on the people I love because that's how, playing sports is how my coaches and mentors were or whatever. So like I had to learn literally, like, not everybody is like you, bro. And
Mm.
some people struggle with just getting up out of the bed.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody gonna see the cup as half full.
Right.
And oh, that is so hard to me. But I deal with it now, and I'm better on that. But I had to learn, and I used to think that okay, maybe I'll rub off on them a little bit.
Mm.
You can't change nobody; they gotta want to change.
Yes, Lord.
so so that made, and now I look at it like maybe I was being passive aggressive on, like, hopefully they'll learn some things from me, because I'm very stress free. Not to say I don't stress, but like I handle things very, very well. Very
Mm-hmm.
well. And it's mostly because I always see for the most part, I see the end game. I always see the
Mm-hmm.
cup as half full. I always look at it. I'm like, this happened, this happened, this happened. That was bad, but I still got this much the way to go. Like, I still can do this. I still can do that. And like, even if it may not be tomorrow, but I'm going to get there. And it may be quicker than what most people think, but that's just always been me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I definitely had to learn that I can't always influence people, and sometimes you gotta let people be them. You can't change them. Let them get that pain out and talk about it however they want. But at the same time, I had to learn, like, you can't be around people like that all the time either, because that starts to wear on me.
Right.
So
And that's what
yeah,
I
I'm
was
not.
about to say, like,
Yeah,
you have to take care of yourself, when
self
you're,
love. I
yeah,
was getting to it.
when you're dealing with, someone who may have that, story playing over and over in their mind, and they're coming to you, and you want to be there for them, you want to listen, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have to take care of yourself, because
Yeah,
oftentimes people want to dump their stories on you and then just leave it with you.
literally. Yeah,
Just like we're talking about, this story being told, but no one doing anything about it.
yeah.
So I
And
go ahead.
And as a guy, we're always looking, like, to fix stuff, right?
Mm,
And that's another thing I had to learn doing my ex-wife. She was like, "Dude, sometimes I just want you to listen. Like, I don't want you to give me feedback on how to fix it." But I'm
mm-hmm.
like, "You've been complaining about it. Like, do something about it." You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm like that with everybody. I'm gonna always offer a solution, but sometimes I had to learn. Like, sometimes if they didn't ask for a solution, don't give it to them. So
Yeah. It's
I had to
called
learn to let stuff go in and go out the other end.
Yeah, it's called empathic listening. There's this really cool video, and if I remember, I'll send it to you. But it's called the nail in the head. So
Hmm.
there's a woman, there's this couple, and they're sitting on the couch, and the woman literally has a nail sticking out of her head, and she's saying all these things like, oh, I just have a headache and I don't understand why I keep having this daily headache. And the guy's like, well, there's a nail in your head. And she's like, yeah, but I just struggle to sleep and I really don't, she's saying all of these issues that she's having. And he's like, yeah, but there's a nail in your head. And the whole point of the video is that, like, okay, this person is trying to communicate to you what they're actually experiencing. So whereas we think we can see what the issue is, oftentimes
Yes.
it's deeper than that,
Oh, that's my problem too.
yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
you gotta be willing to go past what you can see.
Yeah.
That is something we're totally off of what I was gonna ask, but it sounds
That's
like we're
okay
just
though.
gonna have a whole little
This is good. This is
conversation.
good.
But what I was gonna say is that oftentimes, hopefully my husband is okay with sharing this, we're very physical people. He's a martial
Yeah.
artist, I was a dancer. So we live through our bodies. Like as you see right
Mhm.
now, I'm like moving and everything while I talk. So when we're having a little moment, oftentimes we misread each other because of our physical behaviors or whatever our bodies are doing. And so what we have to work on is one, controlling our, physical reactions, but also trying to listen past all of that,
Mhm.
because we
Yeah.
know that that's how we are. So it's like we're not meaning anything by it, but the person that's listening still has to be able to go a little, deeper.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. We
Mm-hmm.
definitely, hey, this is good conversation though. Good conversation. I like it though.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. So, okay, let's talk about this because you said, and it's so interesting because I was thinking before we were talking, I was like, I wonder how he's going to answer this question, because he strikes me as someone that doesn't have like any anxiety or any, like mental health, whatever it may be. So, my question was, do you have any personal experiences with mental health? But in personal with you, maybe it's something with your job, or maybe it's a friend, or maybe it's, someone that you have had to help, or, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so I personally, like me myself, haven't dealt with anything like that. I would say that I would consider with mental health. Really, I feel like everybody has some levels of depression, but I never claimed that, and I deal with things very, 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 very well, abnormally well to most people. Like I don't know, and sometimes I think that there's something wrong with me because I feel like maybe I should be more, I don't know, maybe emotionally attached to certain things or deal with things like other people, because I don't deal with things like other people. But I think it's mostly because I'm I can, like I said, I typically see the things as half full, and I learned at a very young age that pretty much whatever you put your mind to, you could do. But not just that, but I'm a thinker, so I'm always thinking, always thinking. So what helps me is that um, first of all,
Oh, I lost you, James.
I grew up in the hood, so like,
Oh, I lost you. I lost you,
okay,
but you're back now.
okay, I grew up in the hood, so I dealt with like where I'm from, like what kids call internet bullying. That's nothing compared to in-person bullying.
Yeah.
So it's people that got nicknames to this day: little ugly, stinky booty, musty, whatever, just mean stuff. Kids are mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I dealt with all this at a very young age, and I learned that not to take stuff personally, be able to let stuff roll off of me. And as I got older, to learn, um, reading the Bible and stuff like that. And other things, I would, like I say, I'm a thinker. I would look at things and try to say, okay, what if this happened? What if this happened? What if this happened? So how I try to tell people how I deal with things or dealt with things, like I prepare for the worst and I hope for the best. So that's not to say that you're expecting the worst, but don't ever think that, oh, this will never happen to me. So
Mm.
if you prepared for if it does ever happen to you, you can always fall back on that plan Z, plan what the thing like I try to imagine the worst thing possible to happen in the world. If that were to happen, what would you do? And I don't think a lot of people think about stuff like that, but I do. So I try to apply that, and then if I was in that situation, what would I do? So I think I'm kind of mentally prepared for a lot of things when it comes to that type of stuff because I've thought about it. How would I respond? How would I do this? And you don't really know, but you kind of know you for to a certain extent how you respond. But that's how I deal with things myself. But as far as like, I mean, like I say, dealing with relationships, I can talk about that. I've dealt with kids, but I would rather make it more personal. Like I say, I've been in relationships where, like I say, people that you thought that you were in love with love you will do certain things that you never expected. Some people, they will say certain things that you never expected. And it's things that they purposely are doing to try to hurt you and hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So, you would never expect the person to, um, let's say, I've seen a person where they took another person's money that they were giving them instead of paying it on the house, like just took it. So this person had their house foreclosed on. So it's stuff like that, people you just never expect. And that, like I say, me personally, a person say something completely off the wall that's false, and they know it, and then they'll come back and apologize. So that's another thing. We deal with a lot of hurt people that hurt other people, and some
Yeah.
people throw low blows on purpose, right? And I think that's another thing too. I, like I said, I deal with my stuff, my pain, very good, but that doesn't mean I have never been hurt. So
Mm.
so I have hurt in me, and where I'm from, right in the hood, usually we can handle it with these right here. And if you don't, sometimes you don't have to handle it with that. You can handle it with your mouth. So I always tell people like I'm the last person you want to get into it with on that type of stuff. Like you want to throw low blows, I can be petty and throw throw them right back. And like I say, in the past, I'm like, I promise you, I warn you like 30 times before I strike back. Like my tongue is very sharp. So when I get done with you, I promise you we won't have that problem no more. So I hate to have to take it that far if I have to, but when I get done, I typically don't have that problem no more though. But and it's usually I'll tell people like don't do that. Like don't do that. Like I'm very, very calm, cool, and collected. I'm gonna let you know, like, look, that wasn't cool. You gotta chill out. Don't do that no more. Like if you
Yeah.
continue to do that, I'm about to check you.
Yeah.
So I've had people say certain things, like I say, and I've had to come back and check them and with that sharp tongue of mine, and like I say, I don't have no more issues with that. But that's that may be some of my hurt coming back out. But I have definitely warned you 9 times out of 10 not to push that button over and over and over again. It takes a lot for me to get there. So,
Yeah.
and it's very hard when you can't use these. So it's very hard because like I say, in the hood, you can always squab it out, and we can shake hands, be friends, or whatever, and be over with. But I can't even. That's another thing. I can't even count how many fights I've had. I know people that's never had fights. I've
Me,
had that's what I'm
never
saying.
been in a
So
fight in my life.
and it's so crazy to me, like growing up here, like I see so many people that just swear they so hard. I'm like, dude, I remember you was little, like you was not. But this just I like, and like I say, I've had so many fights, but and I swear I don't mess with nobody. I'm always smiling, laughing, and playing. And I tell people all the time, it's usually people that's like that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
So the ones who chill, laughing and cool than the one like when you don't see them get angry. When they do get angry, you probably need to get out the way. So
Yeah,
yeah.
very true. Very true. That you're actually describing my husband. You don't want to, he'll give you 10 million tries, but do not, that 10
Yeah.
million in one time is
It's over
over.
with.
It's over.
And
You don't
that is
want
me.
none. You don't want none. Uh, but okay, so I had a question from what you
Go
said
ahead.
a little earlier. So, what do you think makes you so mentally strong?
I had to be, honestly. Um, I had to be. I literally, I like to say I jumped off the porch, literally, like literally. I probably was outside playing with all the older kids. So our mutual cousin Marcus was always like my mentor, right? So he's 6 years older than me. So literally, when I was like 5 and 4, I was wherever they
With
was at, I
him.
was doing the same exact thing, literally. So I've had to be. I was way more mature because I was always with kids that's way older than me. Um,
Mm,
and then like I say, where we grew up at, like it was in that was doing gang banging era. So
mm,
and then that's another thing that the toxic masculinity thing or whatever. We grew up during that era where people, you can't cry, don't be a little punk, a little bitch, and this and that. So I was programmed that way very early. Like you can't be too sensitive as a guy. Um, so I learned to be strong and had to carry um, whatever I was doing as a young child. I couldn't do what everybody else was doing, but they used to get me up and hype me up to where I, speak words over me, or they might break me down by saying some words too, but they'll build me back up too.
mm.
Um, I know. One guy was talking about, which I know most of these fraternities, sororities are anti-hazing, but I know I heard somebody talk about how that process at one point was about breaking you down and building you back up, and sometimes what they say, when you come out on the side, you're a better person. So I saw a lot, went through a lot, not necessarily really really bad stuff. I didn't have to worry about my lights getting cut off, or some people deal with molestation, none of that type stuff. I didn't have to worry about that. But I was definitely poor. I didn't have what everybody else has. Um, I never had my own room, never had my own phone. I didn't have a car, I had to share a bed, so it's stuff like that that people may take for granted. And that's what I always tell people, like, man, I ain't nothing was given to me. Everything I got, I earned. And I cannot, that's not an option. I can't go to mama and say, Mama, I need like I didn't get in college early. Like I graduated in '04. I didn't get in college because I couldn't even get money to pay my deposit for my dorm. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm.
I asked mom, she was like, I didn't have it. You know, um, I'm like, okay, that's all right. So I was like, from here on out, I won't depend on that. You know what I'm saying? So I'll make it happen myself. So whatever it is I'm doing, I try to set myself up. So I made sure I got a job and prepared myself. So when I started at UAPD in '05, I had my dorm deposit and was able to pay for it out of my own pocket. So I
Nice.
just never had that to fall. I didn't want to depend on no one for that. So that's what I just learned at an early age. Like once I'm disappointed, I guess that may be a bad thing. Once you disappoint me, hey, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to move on. So I'm gonna try to do it. I know you can't do it all by yourself, and that's probably one of my bad habits is that I try to do it all myself and I don't ask for help. But it's because I've been disappointed so many times. So,
Same.
but yeah. So that's just
And
me.
oftentimes, like I am struggling with this with certain people, but like for me, if you I always say, like, if you cross me, if you go beyond that boundary that I've already set, then for me, I don't see how you fit into my life.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah.
That's intentional. Same here. Once you cross me, it's over with. I don't tolerate that. So I agree. You're right, and that is taking care of yourself. You're right for that. Don't let nobody tell you you're wrong for ever doing it. Hold people accountability. So I've been on this the last couple of years, right? Um, and that's another, like I said, I can be hard on people. I know I am because I'm hard on myself. Like I said, I did everything on my own. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm hard on me, you know I'm gonna be hard on you. But don't cross me. And if you cross me, if I take time and think about what I say to not disrespect you and respect you and your feelings, and if you told me like don't do this, and I do it anyway, I'm sorry. We can't. I used to make excuses for people to be around, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
It's people out here that will completely disrespect you after you told them like, hey, look, don't whatever you don't do this, and they do it anyway. Nah, I can't rock with you no more. You cannot come around me. You can't be around me. I don't care if you family. It's over with. And I know people say you can't do that. You know, you gotta have forgiveness. I understand it, but right now, to my like I say, where I'm from, once you disrespect me, it turns physical. So, so I'm like, where I'm from, like if I ain't slap you every time I see you, that is forgiveness. Or if I ain't cussing you out, like
Like I'm
the fuck
actually
you
being
doing
in
over here?
control right now.
Yeah. So that is forgiveness. So in my book, that is forgiveness. Like when I see you and I might give you the nod, what's up? That's all you gonna get. But that is forgiveness. Because if I could be around you and not want to slap you, that's forgiveness for me. So it is what it is. And like I say, you had to where I'm from, you had to learn how to defend yourself. You had to fight. Like that's
Hmm.
just I've grown out of that. Obviously, I ain't had a fight in years, but I'm like I said, I can't even count how many fights I had. But for me to not want to put my hands on you and you completely disrespecting me, that's big for me. So
Hmm.
that's where I'm at with that. And I know it's steps, but maybe I get the forgiveness where we can still be around each other. But if you would do that to me, you would do something else to me too. Though. I don't like
Yeah.
giving people too many chances either.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
agree. Okay, so I have a question from
go
what
ahead.
I'm just coming up with questions as we're talking. So you said something earlier about people telling you you can't be too sensitive. Okay.
Yes.
So how do you think that affected you as a man? Or even take it further, as a black man being told that you can't be sensitive?
Oh my God, I that's probably one of the most used to be one of the most complaints I got when being in a relationship. I could come off
Mm.
as very insensitive,
Mm-hmm.
um, maybe aloof, maybe some people may call me an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I literally took that and perfected it. Like if anybody perfected that, I feel like I perfected that. I am not emotional at all when it comes to like a lot of stuff, and I've been in relationships actually taught me to be more emotional. So um I'm glad I was able to experience that because I had some women tell me like, look, you got to do better on. And I'm very physical. You know, I love the hug, I love kiss. You know, all that. That's cool. You know, but like I say, I can be kind of I don't know. It's weird. I can't even remember. That's another toxic thing. I can't even remember the last time I shed a tear. I wanted to and I tried to, but
Ah.
it's been a yeah. But I deal with my pain differently. I've just like I say, we just were not allowed to cry. Like I say, like that. And I have cried, like I say, but I'm pretty sure it was probably when I was a teen or something. I'm 35 now, but I
Oh
don't know.
wow.
But see, think about it though. Think about it. So if I'm a person that think about everything and something happens, I'm probably not as surprised because I've already played it out in my mind.
Thought about
If that
it.
makes sense.
Yeah. So you,
So
like you
that's
said, you are prepared for, anything that may happen or go wrong or whatever, but you're not looking for that to happen. But
Right.
it's still, you still got it in your pocket. Like if it comes, I know what
Yeah.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but and I've actually taken that and used it as a power, right? I've already processed it, like she just said. I've taken
Right.
it and used
Yeah.
it as power.
Mhm.
And what? So typically, when something bad happens, right, I'm the person I'm able to pick everybody else up, you
Mm.
know, and put a smile on their face and be there for them, and listen to them and talk to them about it, and not and let them be the ones to take stuff out. Because I'm strong. I'm obviously stronger than a lot of people. So I might as well be the person that help them, process it, help others process it, and that's my superpower.
Okay, but
That's just
can
my.
you always be strong? Can you be strong for
No,
everyone?
I'm not saying I can't, but I've taken it and used it to my superpower. I don't know how long that's gonna last, and it's not on purpose, but that's just like I say, that was just something that just happened because, like I say, the type of music we listen to, the era we grew up in, it's a lot of people that are like we are very toxic. We are very toxic. Like
Mm.
the toxic masculinity, we are the definition of that. So
Okay,
they've been.
so
Go ahead.
okay, so what makes masculinity toxic?
Well, I don't. So I don't. That word and definition. Because every time people say it, I always ask what's their definition of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were talking, I just took a class on pronouns. I'm like, I already took English, but this is a different day and
Okay.
age.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about that, and then somebody was like toxic masculinity, and then I was like, what is that? What does that mean? So,
Right.
and that's the best way to get something to learn something. Ask what they mean by that. What does it mean? So I asked them, and then I was like, I'm toxic in the motherfucker.
So,
By that
wow.
definition, I'm toxic. So, as far as like being a male, um, we are like say you can't be sensitive. You cannot be sensitive. You're not supposed to cry. That's very toxic. You know what I'm saying? And that's me. But like some people have different definitions of that. Some people, oh, the woman's supposed to be in the kitchen. Oh, you is as a male, you need to pay for everything. You need to provide. You need to do this and do that. The woman should never have to take out the trash. She needs to cook. She needs to take care of the kids, all this and all that. So I'm not necessarily that far off on the end. Like I believe on that. I always say this. My approach is I don't like to feel like I'm taking a woman's power away. So I'm a very laid back person. I'm chill. So I'm not gonna say, "Oh, you're supposed to be in the kitchen cooking every day for me." I love cooking for whoever I'm with. I'm cook. I like to cook. That's one of my favorite things to do. And that's one of my love languages. Like I like to cook, act of service. So I will definitely cook for you. I rub your feet, all of it. So that's just me.
Well, that's
But
sensitive. That's sensitivity.
right. But I'm saying as far as being crying, like crybaby, like or if like say if you had something going on and you maybe lost your dog and you just like hysterical. Oh, I honestly, I
You deal with
I
that pretty
struggle with that.
bad.
Yeah. I struggle with that
But you know
stuff.
what? I don't. Okay, so I know we're like talking about masculinity, but when
Yeah.
you explain that, it reminds me a lot of myself. I'm kind of the same where when people are going through pain,
Yes.
I kind of shut off.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, but then that says something about what we've had to deal with in our past, because to me that's a protection mechanism.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely
okay,
is.
someone's hurt. I don't want to get hurt. I know what it's like to be hurt. I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that. you
Yes,
know.
I definitely. Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So it's definitely a protection mechanism. Okay, so I want to talk, we're like all the way off the artist tip. So I want to talk a little bit about Black men in mental health. Okay.
Okay.
And what I really am interested in is how you think it plays out in a place like Arkansas, in a southern town that's like, and people think is the Midwest. And, I just wonder how progressive that topic is in that area.
The topic is very progressive, but the actions and the support behind the topic is never is rarely supported across the United States. So we see people, we see like people like Kanye going through all this type of stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has their opinions. But honestly, like when you really pay attention and you look at it as a black male, being a black male, I feel like we're not allowed to go through things.
Mm.
So we're not allowed to. We have to be strong. So, and when we're not, people they'll put that stigma on. Oh, you crazy.
Mm.
Oh, you're sensitive. Oh, like he's toxic. I every time a guy goes through something, when Tyrese is on the internet crying, what they was doing, making fun of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's almost like, as a male, the only option is to keep it together. Like, you can't cry, you can't get upset, you can't hurt, you can't be sensitive, you can't, you know, it's like
I'm
all you
just
can
being
do is stay
honest.
together.
We have to. It's no, is if you, let's just say, all right, at least keep it together as privately as you can. Check yourself into to whatever facility you're at, and deal with that. But once the public see a black male, everybody gonna have something to say. And is there honestly there are no excuses for us. Like majority of the time we get talked about through under the rug when you dealing with something. And not every like I say, everybody's not as strong. Like I say, some people deal with can't even get out the bed in the morning. They're dealing with other issues.
Hmm.
They go to therapy, but nobody's perfect. Everybody's going through something. But I feel like every time a black male has lashed out and he's had some issues, that he like the media does not show any empathy. There is no empathy for black males.
Right.
The conversation is there, but the support is not there.
Yeah.
The intellect is there. People understand, but
Yeah.
the support is not there.
Yeah, so I
That's
want
how
to
I feel.
go. I hate to call, I may say this wrong, but feast so fly. Okay, so I love what you're saying in the chat, because it's interesting. Because for me, like Kanye, so I always disclose like what I deal with, so I have no problem with sharing that I have bipolar disorder 1. And
Okay.
we were talking about being crazy earlier. When I was in the thick of my mental illness without any medication, I was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Okay? I was crazy. I was staying up for a week at a time. I would like cook these elaborate meals. I would create these grandiose plans and see them through. And then I was also depressed to the point where I couldn't get out of the house and I couldn't get out of the bed, and my life was, to the point of being suicidal. But then you go back to the upswing, and you feel, and that's a big part why I feel like Kanye calls himself Jesus or genius or whatever it
Yeah.
is, because when you have bipolar, you literally feel like you have a superpower. There's
Yes.
nothing at all that can stop you.
Touch you. Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Yeah.
Like you could probably pick up a car when you're manic because you have that much inside of you, you know.
So funny story about like bipolar. Like again, like I say, the education and like I didn't know nothing about it, right? So how people used to talk about it when I was younger, I'm like, everybody got mood swings. I feel like everybody's. I used to say this all the time. I feel like everybody's bipolar at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But once I did so when I was with my ex, so I just was like, something's not right with this person.
You was
And
trying to
so
diagnose her.
but it wasn't that. I never at the time I wasn't working in that field. And it was just something I just like I say, we considered whatever it was, everything was on one umbrella. Crazy. And like I said, I didn't know what it was. I never studied it, never nothing. I didn't know what it was. So like to how other kids and other people talked about bipolar, I'm like, everybody bipolar. Like everybody go through mood swings, this and that. So it wasn't until my ex she asked me, do you think I'm bipolar? I'm like, I think everybody's bipolar.
Mm.
I was like, everybody's bipolar. I was like, we all have mood swings. So she was like, okay. And then I'm not going to force you to talk about it. I was just like, that was weird. But so again, I'm a thinker, right? I listened how you asked it, when you asked it. So I'm thinking like, why she say it like that? Why she never said nothing else about it? Why did she
Mm.
question? So that's what I mean. I'm a thinker. So I'm like, okay, she could have asked herself that and did the research. She could have checked herself and when it did that, why did she ask me? Why did she want my opinion? So I'm like, did my opinion matter? Did she want to know how I viewed her? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go research it. I started researching it. Okay, I'm like, oh crap. So I'm looking at the symptoms. I'm like, it was like 20 symptoms listed. She had 40 symptoms. So,
Yeah, I check all the boxes. I'm like, yeah,
and
that.
again, I'm not trying to diagnose you. So I'm a person that's always willing to help and offer an opinion. Whatever you can to fix it. But like I said, I have to learn to turn that off too. But
Mm-hmm.
so I just sent her that list, right? Out of nowhere, just blew. I just sent her the list. I mean, like I just sent it to her. She didn't respond or nothing, right? So I get home, and then out of nowhere, she was like, "Hey, I looked at that list," and she was like, "Yeah, I met every." So keep in mind, she has not been diagnosed, right? She has not been diagnosed. But like I said, it was just she was just doing stuff. I'm just like, something is wrong. Like this girl, great. Like something wrong with her. Like I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. Something wrong with her. Like, and I'm trying. I'm being nice as I can. Nice as I can. I'm not trying to call you crazy, but like, I'm like, something's just
Something's
not
a
adding up.
little
Like you
off.
doing this. Like who? Like this is weird. So like I'm not used to people. I didn't grow up around people that do certain things and then say another. I didn't grow up around
Mm.
people like lying, like just lying, like lying. I'm like, why would you lie about that? Like, you do remember you told me something complete opposite of that, and
Yeah.
I got a good memory. That works for me and works against me. So I'm like, I don't remember you distinctly saying this, and this, but now you saying this. I'm like, something off. Like either you got another personality or something. So it's a difference between schizophrenia. But I'm like, you really believe that lie, and I know you just lied. So I'm like, all right, I just stopped because I used to be a person that points it out. Like I got a good memory. I'm like, no, you. I'm pretty sure you said this, so I just had to stop and just hit. Like I said, I'm like, something not add up, something wrong. So after we split up, we went through our spat. She decided to go to a therapist. And some people, once you hang around me, you will figure out that I'm almost like psychic. So I don't know, I like I say, but
You have
she ended
discernment.
up going and she got diagnosed bipolar 2 disorder. So I was like,
Okay.
I knew it was something. So
Well,
some
look,
people would drive you crazy. She
yeah.
almost drove me crazy because I'm like, is it me? You start questioning yourself, is it me? But I'm like, and she used to always say, like I say, again, I come off as hard, I can be, aloof. She's always saying, "Oh, you missed the perfect, you missed the perfect." And then I see like how I can come off as perfect, to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, your energy is like through the roof. You're always on the go. Nothing ever gets you down. Like, and she said out of her own mouth she was jealous of me.
Oh,
You know what I'm
wow.
saying? Yeah. And she was like, your energy is like, she's like, I wish I had your energy. She's like, you can do anything you want to do. But, I just had to learn, like, dude, you got to stop investing like that much. Like, they have to deal with their stuff on their own, not take on their responsibility, and they have to want to change,
Yeah.
So
But
I just had to learn to step back from that.
But you did the right thing as someone who cares and someone who is also, even if it was just curiosity, she mentioned it to you, and maybe that was all she could do at that moment is just ask the question, do you think this? And maybe that's all she had the capacity to do. But you helped her by sending her the list. So all she had to do was just look at the list,
Yeah.
and then she understood, and then eventually she went and got the help.
Yeah.
So just to give like a little statistic, so basically it takes someone 8 years from the onset of their symptoms to go get help.
Wow.
And
Didn't know that.
after that 8 years, only 50% of people who first go to seek help even return. So
Mm.
you got to think about the process and the time that it takes to get to a place where you're like, oh yeah, I have a mental illness.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we see it as, oh, I'm just being lazy. Oh, I'm tired. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm, whatever it is, we put on these excuses like you were talking about earlier, excuses. So we have all these reasons as to why we're dealing with certain things when it's really, no, you have anxiety, no, you're
Right.
depressed, no, you're bipolar. And then also you were you were
Yeah.
you were talking about um people, oh, thinking,
Uh, I was talking about what?
you were talking about people, everybody being bipolar, like
Yeah.
everybody being polar
Yeah.
at some point. And I think oftentimes people think they're ADHD too. And
Oh yeah.
they don't think
Yeah.
that's a real thing. People are like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm ADD. Oh, I'm having an
That.
ADHD moment. And it's like, no, 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 no. That's not
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah, I'll say that too. I was like, I feel like everybody can be ADHD with that one. Yeah, so I do say that too. But I don't know. I haven't looked that definition up.
I mean, it's serious.
Yeah.
It's a mental illness, and it's something that people deal with, and that really affects their life in a detrimental way. So
Hmm.
I think oftentimes the issue is that we throw out these terms kind of flippantly, and we really
Yes.
don't know what they mean and what we're
Hmm.
saying and what we're projecting by our ignorance,
Yeah.
because
And
often,
sometimes
go
the
ahead.
power of the tongue too. We claiming stuff, and you might mess around and get it because you claiming it too. So go ahead. But I
Hmm.
ain't mean to say. But go ahead. Cut you off.
Yeah, yeah, we can definitely also, I'm a big believer in manifesting things.
Yes.
But yeah, but I think oftentimes we have to just understand that if somebody is, two things. If somebody is like, their moods are changing, that doesn't mean they're bipolar. If you have ADHD, well, if you can't focus, that doesn't mean that you have ADHD. But
Right.
it might mean that you need to go investigate a little further,
Right. Right.
you know?
Right.
So when we say things, we have to be able to follow it up with some sort of action.
Yes.
which I think
Yes.
takes us back to what you were talking about, a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, as guys, we are wired to be fixers. Like we see something, like say, follow it up with something, a plan of action.
Yeah.
But some people they have to have everything figured out before they take a plan of action. So some people just a little bit slower to take action
Hmm.
to taking action, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So
And that's why they need the help.
yeah.
So if somebody, this is my PSA to everyone who is listening or who will listen later. Um, if somebody is saying something to you that you feel like maybe a little off, or that they need to investigate it, maybe be that helping hand or that little push and do some
Hmm.
research for them. Send them a video, send them an article, send them a whatever it is, just to kind of help them push that idea forward. Because also what we have to understand is I'm highly functioning. I have bipolar, I have severe anxiety and panic,
Hmm.
I have depression because I'm bipolar, I have PTSD. I have all of these things, but I am functioning. you know, it's
How
not
you
like
function?
it's
Yes.
not like I'm wearing it on my shoulder. So being having a mental illness or being mentally ill is not like a death sentence, and it
Right.
doesn't mean that you're about to be in like a state hospital chained up to a bed. That's not
Right.
what it means. It just means that you have something that you're dealing with. Like my mom always talks about, because she's a clinical director of a mental health center, and she
Hmm.
used to always talk about how, if someone has cancer, you're not going to tell them, oh, are you sure? Well, that's just something that you need to get past. Well,
Yeah.
you
You need to get.
you'll be all right.
You'll
Well,
be all right. Yeah.
like, no, when someone says they have cancer, we're bringing them food, we're praying for them, we're
Yep.
coming to visit them, we're taking them to chemo. We rally around those people. But if someone says they have a mental illness, all of a sudden we kind of isolate and alienate them as if it's some disease that they're going to catch because you're around somebody
Yeah.
with a mental illness.
Oh
Like
my God.
stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
we definitely we have to do better. And like I say, I'm the first to admit, like, I'm very hard on people, very hard. And like I say, I mostly is because I used to be like, if I'm able to do it, you're able to do it. No, that's not true, man. And I used to say that, left and right, yeah, not to touch the stove when it's hot, then you know better. You shouldn't be doing it, you shouldn't be doing it. No, man, some people, when they're not in the right mental state, they don't process right.
Yeah.
Some things may seem simple to you, may not be simple to others. So
Exactly. But what I was going to say is, if you can do it, then yeah, I probably can do it. But maybe
yeah,
my process is different. And maybe it looks differently on me than it looks on you.
right,
So I
right.
definitely think that you can believe that, someone that or that you're connected to or whatever it may be, you have that mindset of, well, if I can do it, this person can do it, because you know them and you know what their
Hmm.
capabilities are. But
Exactly.
sometimes the person can't see it. So that's why
Yeah,
we have to be willing to, like we were talking about earlier, have deeper conversations and not just see things on the surface as they are.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so hard to look past that nail in your head, though. Because I'm like, what's wrong with you?
You
Why?
have a nail in your head.
You
Yes.
ever?
I have to send
Oh,
you
that
that
is
video.
hard. That's my struggle. That is my struggle.
Yeah, we gotta get past the nail in the head.
I
It's
promise I'm gonna work. I'm a little bit slower than others probably, but I'm gonna get it.
you know what? If I can do it, you can do it. How about
You're
that?
right.
How about
I am
that?
glad you see that in me. Can I help you get that nail out? Just
But that's the thing. Maybe you can help them get the nail out, but doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not saying, hey, take that nail out your head. Maybe it's saying, what can I do to make you feel more comfortable? How do you think we can relieve that headache? What is it that I can do? So it's like you have to approach it in a different way. It's not that you have to ignore the nail, but there is more for you to do than just point at the nail and
Yeah.
say that your issue is the nail. No, my issue is so many more things.
I can say it's been times where I've kind of done that. So like I say, growing up in the hood, I've kind of, oh shoot, I got 15%. Kind of been
Oh, we'll
like I
close it
say,
off soon. We'll close it out soon.
okay.
Okay.
I kind of had to have. I kind of was a bully, so it's been times where there's people I love and care about. They don't know what they gonna do. And I just make a decision for them, right? I make a decision for them. So like for instance, one of my best friends, I'm gonna make it quick. He was like, "Hey man, I'm not going back to school. I'm just gonna work." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up." I was like, "Come take a ride with me." So we go pull up. We pull up to the school. He's like, "Where we going?" I'm like, "We're going to register you for school." Come on, let's go. But to this day, he like, "Bro, I appreciate you. Like, because I got my degree, like I'm able to, work this job and get this promotion and be eligible for this job." But I used to, like, if you're around me, like I'm on your ass. So
Well,
I can be a bully. So people with nails in their head, I'm more the person probably like, "Oh, my head hurt." I'm probably like, "Come here," and I pull it
pull
out.
it out.
Now, don't you say nothing else about that nail, or we can talk about if there's anything else bothering you. Let me know, then we can pull that out.
Mm.
So, and like with my mom, she was like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This and that." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I got something for you." We pull up. What we doing? I'm gonna get you registered for school. So, seeing her finish and getting her bachelor's degree, So, but I've definitely been a bully when it comes to my little sister. She ended up being a very good track athlete. She was like, I'm like, "What you doing? Like, you need to do something. You need to be in some type of extracurricular activity." She was like, "I don't know what on." I like, "You run the track." I just told her, "You run the track. Go run track." And
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I don't
Yeah.
know,
Like I was going
but
to say, yeah, that is a good thing though, because to me it's like, okay, well then you can take the person to the mental health center if they need to
yeah,
go.
yeah, I'm definitely that person because if I see something, I'm like, somebody adding up. Come on, let's go. We're gonna take a
We taking a ride.
ride.
Lord help.
Yeah,
Well, you have 15%, and it's definitely, we have been talking over an hour, I'm sure now. So,
yeah.
people need that type of support because you can see things they can't. Yes.
I appreciate it. And I think we answered most of your questions within the parameters, though, of answering a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
it totally went
yeah,
another direction, but as
yeah,
I typically do with conversations, I pull out questions from what is being said. So
yeah.
this was great. I'm really glad we had this conversation. I think
Anytime.
there was a lot said there. So I really
Yeah,
appreciate you sharing, and I appreciate everyone for their comments and for everyone that dropped in and for everyone that stayed and hung out. Um, so, conversation to be had during Mental Health Awareness Month. Yeah, I
yeah,
actually do these interviews every Saturday. So, they're healing conversations through the lens of mental health. And this is a part of Thrive Artist Group, of which I'm the founder of. And we offer peer support, one on one coaching. We do support groups, classes, trainings. It's a plethora of things, and it's all surrounded around mental health, particularly for the Black community and for artists. So,
yeah.
so that's my life's passion. It's what God gave me, and through my struggles with my own mental illness, it's become even more clear that this is my life's work. So,
Doing a great job.
so thank you so much, Mr. CJ, my
All
cousin.
right. What's happening, cuz?
We claim each other anyway. If your cousin is my cousin, we cousins, okay?
We cousins. Facts.
Okay. So
Facts.
that's just what that is.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for being here, and I'll be talking to you soon. We'll have to figure out how
Okay.
we can do this again.
Definitely. I'm down.
All right. Well, you
All
have
right.
a blessed one, and people, we're leaving as people are coming in, so we'll see you guys next week. Brian
All
and
righty.
Krista, we'll see y'all
Yeah,
next week.
next week.
All
All
right. All
right.
right. Have
Bye.
a good one. Bye.